Once upon a time, fast food was the quickest, easiest, and cheapest dining alternative for people on the go. And it's still fairly quick and easy. But if you've been in a fast food joint recently, then you've probably noticed that it's not quite so cheap anymore.
No, dude, this isn't happening, all right? We didn't make it here, and now we're broke.
What went wrong? Well, today we're going to take a look at why fast food got so expensive. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other food-related topics you want to hear about next. Okay, keep an eye on your wallet because things are about to get a little pricey. The history of fast food more or less begins at a castle, a White Castle, that is. Founded by Billy Ingram and Walter Anderson, the first White Castle opened in Wichita, Kansas in 1921. Assembly lines were all the rage back then, and Ingram and Anderson seized on the fad to come up with the now standard model for fast food places, including the limited menu, the fast service, and the low prices. The restaurant was a huge success and spawned a number of imitations, including McDonald's, which was founded by Richard and Maurice McDonald in California in 1940. In 1948, In-N-Out Burger would open up the first drive-through fast food restaurant in Baldwin Park, California. And with that, the fast food experience as we know it today was pretty much complete. But it wouldn't be until after World War II that America got on the highway to being a fast food nation. After the war, the U.S. experienced a period of unprecedented prosperity and built an elaborate new network of national highways. Americans were driving further from home on an increasingly regular basis, and recognizable franchise chains became like familiar friends in a strange land. Fast forward to the present, and the U.S. now has the largest fast food industry in the entire world. Given fast food's relationship to obesity and various related illnesses, that may not be such a great thing, but have you tried fast food? It is delicious. There are a lot of reasons American consumers fell in love with fast food. And it's not just the French fries, although that's probably a big part of it. For starters, there was the speed and convenience. Obviously, hitting a drive-thru is a heck of a lot faster and easier than going to a full-service restaurant. And fast food advertising campaigns have long targeted people on the go, who are just in need of a quick meal. But over the decades, American families also increasingly became two-income families, and the convenience of fast food made it a good stopgap for parents that just didn't have time to cook anymore. No longer just for travelers, fast food started to become a standard part of many people's diet. While the speed and convenience were certainly a draw, it was really the price of fast food that the public fell in love with. Full-service restaurants could be expensive, but at a fast food place, you could feed your entire family for relatively cheap. And during the 1980s and 90s, chains increasingly began luring customers in by offering extra value combo meals. Combos, as you likely know, typically include a burger or other entree, a side such as fries, and a drink, at a price lower than you could get them individually. It's not that much lower, but it was enough, because the rise of combo meals powered an explosion in the popularity of fast food. The 1990s era McDonald's extra value meal was pretty typical, offering 6 different options, including a Big Mac meal, a 2-cheeseburger meal, a Quarter Pounder with cheese meal, and a McChicken meal, each for $2.99, as well as a McGrilled Chicken Classic meal for $3.29 and a double Quarter Pounder with cheese meal for $3.99. And of course, everything was super-sizable for an extra 39 cents. Or at least it was until the release of the documentary Super Size Me in 2004. And that was the end of that. But it wasn't just McDonald's. Every fast food chain eventually offered some version of a value meal, or a value menu. And most, if not all, still do. That being said, the value meal of today doesn't quite hold the same value as the value meals of days gone by. In fact, fast food has gotten pretty damn expensive. If you went to McDonald's back when they first started doing their thing in the 1940s, you could feed your entire family for under $1. Taking inflation into account, that's equivalent to about $22 in 2024, which is a pretty good deal for a family dinner. Hamburgers were 15 cents back then, cheeseburgers were 19 cents, and fries were 10 cents. Adjusted for inflation, that would be roughly $1.75 for a hamburger, $2.25 for a cheeseburger, and $1.15 for the fries. But that's not actually what those things cost these days. A direct comparison is hard to make because today different locations charge different prices for menu items depending on where they are. But as of May 2024, the McDonald's located in the Southern California town of Downey, which is incidentally the oldest operating location in the world, charges about $2.80 for a hamburger, $3 for a cheeseburger, and $3.90 for fries. So it doesn't take a math whiz to see there's a little more going on than just inflation. In fact, according to at least one report, McDonald's has increased the price of their food by over 100% over the last decade, which is actually more than 3 times the rate of inflation. McDonald's disputes that number, but prices have definitely risen quite a bit. A medium fries, which cost $1.59 in 2014, is now on average $3.79. In the same period, a 10-piece McNugget meal doubled from $5.99 to $10.99, and a quarter pounder with cheese went from $5.39 to $11.99. The McChicken, once a staple of the dollar menu, now costs 3 times that in some places. That's pretty pricey, especially for a place that was offering 2 out of its 4 most iconic menu items, including the Big Mac, quarter pounder with cheese, Filet-O-Fish, and 10-piece McNuggets, for $5 as recently as 2016. The overall result of the higher prices has been less customers paying more money for their fast food. And there is only so much a person will pay for a fast food burger. McDonald's seems to be the worst offender when it comes to jacking up prices, but they're far from alone. Taco Bell, for example, was once famous for having low prices that made them a favorite among frugal customers, night owls, and chihuahuas that like to party. But since 2014, their prices are up an average of 80%. The Doritos Locos Taco, which was $1.39 in 2014, now costs a whopping $2.59. A cheesy Gordita Crunch went from $2.49 to $4.99. And don't even get us started on the beefy 5-layer burrito, which now costs 132% more than it did in 2014. Even the Chihuahua would have trouble stomaching that. Meanwhile, the menu prices at Popeyes are up the same 80%. Wendy's, Burger King, and Arby's have all done a relatively better job controlling costs, but emphasis is on the relatively, because prices at those places are still up around 55%. As for Mickey D's, a Big Mac alone without the combo costs $6. The average value meal is over $10, and you'll have to shell out well over $50 to feed a family of 4. The result is that instead of being a reliably cheap place to take the kids, more and more people are starting to see fast food as a luxury. In fact, the prices have gotten so high, it's created an opening for full-service restaurants like Applebee's and Chili's. To paraphrase Applebee's CEO John Payton, why pay $10 to eat a burger out of a bag when you can pay the same amount or less to get an arguably better burger with all the amenities of a sit-down dining experience? And you gotta admit, the man has a point. So why the heck have drive-thru burgers gotten so expensive? Well, it's complicated. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the cost of goods in general is up roughly 30% since 2019, and that explains part of the increase. As for the rest, the price of fast food is mostly determined by the price of its ingredients, the transportation required to get the food to franchise locations, and all the associated labor costs. And as any home chef can tell you, the prices of ingredients have soared over the past 5 years, and only recently started to cool. At the same time, increased demand for delivery since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic has driven up the prices of things like napkins, straws, cups, and food containers. And transportation costs certainly haven't gotten any cheaper over the years. The cost of minimum wage labor has also been on the rise, and fast food chains have to pass that expense on to customers via rising prices. To hear a politician's spin on the topic, look to President Joe Biden, who, in his 2024 State of the Union address, laid blanket blame on unspecified greedy companies for rising food prices, saying, "Too many corporations raise their prices to pad their profits." And indeed, some corporations in the food and food service businesses have managed to make record profits in recent years. McDonald's, for the record, denies any form of price gouging, claiming their profit margins are largely the same as they were in 2019. However, given their close ties to known criminals like the Hamburglar, we should all remain skeptical. The bad news is that once prices have risen due to inflation, they generally don't go back down. So it's likely the high prices of fast food are largely here to stay. The good news is that the rate of inflation has slowed in recent months, so the price of fast food may have topped out for a little while. In fact, the high prices may have finally started affecting the bottom line. McDonald's saw same-store sales fail to meet expectations in the first quarter of 2024, and in response, they started offering a $5 meal deal combo. The combo includes a McDouble or McChicken sandwich, a 4-piece order of chicken McNuggets, small fries, and a small soft drink, which, all other things being equal, isn't so bad. Similar deals have recently popped up at places like Wendy's, Taco Bell, and Jack in the Box. Some media outlets have even started covering what they call the value meal wars. So there might be some relief in sight.
Dinner is served.
Yum! Dad's the best!
Hands off the McNuggets! They're mine!
The other bit of good news is that Happy Meals are only about $6, and they come with 2 sides, apples and fries, plus a bottle of milk, and, best of all, a toy. So maybe we all need to just start ordering Happy Meals. And who wouldn't be happy with that? So what do you think? Has the high price of fast food made you lose your appetite? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.